tradition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say is even harder to find.
All right, so here we go. Officially the second episode of Unlocking Silicon Valley, giving you the keys to home ownership and beyond.
Hey, we missed David at the first.
I know.
The first one.
I know, and it was my name that got picked. So I may have voted on all of your guys' stories, but to push it over the limit. But that's all right.
Game the system.
Rigged election.
So I know our viewers and listeners can't see, but our viewers are like, "Where in the hell are you guys?" Last week you were in this beautiful $5 million estate property, and this week, where are we at? Where are we at, Ben?
We're at 220 Highland Oaks in Los Gatos.
All original.
All original. We're on the market today, Mark. And what's the price on this fixer-upper?
We are at 1.495
for a single-family home in Los Gatos.
Absolutely, and there's a sound wall right there for Highway 17.
I thought I heard the ocean.
That's exactly what it is. Nice white noise.
Yep. And Los Gatos Schools?
Los Gatos Schools.
So for
Absolutely.
$1.5 million, you can buy a home in Los Gatos with Los Gatos Schools that you can fix up and make your own.
With incredible window treatments over there, so you don't walk right through it.
That's custom.
It is custom.
Are those bullet holes on the next to it? It kind of looks like it. Oh, jeez. We'll have to get a shot of that, Jake.
The glass didn't break, so think about that.
I know.
You don't have the
built-in safety
duct
features.
tape. Duct tape. Duct tape.
Oh, there's one right there where the duct tape is.
Yeah.
Great
Oh
bones.
my gosh. Great bones, yeah.
No chalk outline right here from the body.
Oh, that washed away. We took the caution tape down.
But in
there.
all seriousness, this is an incredible diamond in the rough, blank canvas for the right buyer, and I think there's some room here for sweat equity.
Oh, absolutely, right? I mean, the fixed-up homes in this neighborhood, same size, probably going for what? Over two, right?
2 to 2.4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this house fixed up is 2.2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Well, great
with the
opportunity.
room,
Yeah,
good
I mean,
spread.
we have what did we put on? Like 3 or 4 listings just today.
Yeah.
2 in Los Gatos, 1 in Cupertino. I mean, we're busy right now.
Yeah. And I kind of like this on location, highlighting a listing every week.
VKG on tour.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm hoping the camera's up high enough, or else I'm gonna have to like suck in my stomach the entire time.
He had a good weekend in Mexico.
Oh, I know, man. A lot of beer and tacos in there. But all right, so I'll jump into stats real quick because we are at the kind of the time of year where we're peak inventory levels, right? I mean, we're mid-June. Between mid-June, mid-July, that's when we typically peak.
That's correct.
Inventory-wise.
Yep.
So give you an idea of what our peaks are, at least this year. 862 single-family homes is what we have on the market. 568 condos and townhomes, and about 340 coming soon, which is a combination of single-family homes, condos, and townhomes. So, although I know in some areas we're feeling the slowdown a little bit, there's still not a lot of homes for sale.
There's not, but to your point, there are some areas within Santa Clara County we're seeing those slowdowns, right? We just talked about this at our sales meeting yesterday, where we had some open houses.
Today.
Santa Clara and other areas that had, Ben, you had one that had 40 people go through?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Well, that was in the, again, heart of Cambrian. We've been talking about it for a couple of weeks now. Those hot zip codes, 95124, 118, we start seeing it go off. And then we get to downtown San Jose,
Which is more cricket-ish.
Yes.
Right?
It's also a lot of pricing strategy. Like Ben and I were discussing, that home could be priced about 300,000 to 500,000 under what it's worth, which is why you see a lot of activity and traction, going into that property. But another thing which is fascinating as to what you said, compared like for those for the data numbers, there's 1,300 homes, single family condos and townhomes on the market, out of which 700 or more have been on the market for more than 20 days.
Yep.
That means there are, the absorption rate has definitely decreased in our market compared to what we are used to.
Well, it's interesting, right? I mean, when we look at different locations, like we mentioned downtown San Jose, we have a beautiful 2-bedroom, 2-bath, really cool property, and yet here we're sitting in an original condition, major fixer-upper, in Los Gatos at 1.5, the one in downtown San Jose is 1.2, and yet this one, I'll guarantee you, we're going to have a slew of offers on it where it's a little bit more challenging in that downtown. Right? And yet we're still in the same county.
And I think parts of downtown San Jose have slowed down. One, because they rose up so quickly, but two, Google has basically announced like, hey, we're putting pause on our downtown development, and they're going to reevaluate the size and scope of it. So I think a lot of people now aren't as bullish on downtown as they used to be.
And to Jeet's point, it does come down to the pricing too, right? When you look at downtown San Jose, I mean, there was a time where you didn't really hit over $1 million for a 2.2, right?
Sure.
They were more 700, 800,000. Now we're at 1.2, 1.3. Seasonality of the market's hitting us. Interest rates are higher.
Yeah.
And, I think that's where we're getting a little pullback or hesitation.
If I was a buyer, I would make it an effort or focus to buy within the next 30 days.
Sure.
Because what do we know happens after 4th of July, middle of July?
Exactly.
It picks back up again, and then these opportunities are here just for a
But
moment.
David, as you know, the funny thing is, it's human nature. So you get those buyers all of a sudden, oh wow, these homes are staying on the market longer, like Jeet said, and well, maybe we want to wait. What do you say to a buyer like that? Oh, we want to wait.
Wait for
Now
what?
Exactly.
We're hitting peak inventory, and there's only 860 homes in the entire county for sale.
And this is typically the most you're going to have throughout the year. So,
Yeah.
take advantage of that, right? Like this is what you've been waiting for, right? When the market was hot, all of my buyers are complaining that there isn't enough, options to choose from. And now that there are options, they're like, oh, I could probably wait another week, see what comes up. Maybe something better will come up for the same price.
And then from the seller standpoint, don't let that impact your thinking either from a negative scenario. You can still sell your property, just be realistic of what you're going to expect to get for it.
Yep. And speaking about inventory, one of the things I want to jump into are ADUs. We've obviously talked about them for a long time. The state, counties, local municipalities have changed the guidelines, started to make it easier for them to be built. And now San Jose is the first city in the nation, first city at least in California, that is allowing you to sell off those ADUs. And so kind of put things in perspective on where ADUs have gone over the last few years. So in the state of California, just last year, there were over 22,000 ADUs built. And that equates to 1 out of every 5 new construction homes. So about 20% of the new builds this past year were ADUs. San Jose, I'm gonna look down at my notes here. Since 2019, they've issued 2,300 permits and have built about 1,500 ADUs. So now, San Jose's kind of put into practice, you can now sell off your ADU. And like Mark was mentioning earlier, before we got on the podcast, you can do it without a lot split. You do have to kind of treat it like an association, right? But now, they're paving the way where you can actually sell off those ADUs.
And they're doing that under SB 9. Because the interesting stat that I saw with SB 9, because there's been a huge amount of talk with that. SB 9 was approved, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah.
Right? And yet in the entire state of California, there's only been about 400 applications submitted for actual SB 9 in the entire state, right? So San Jose is saying, hey, we've approved our program and how we're going to do the processes, so we welcome that.
Yeah, and along those lines, they're also making it, they just passed, I think it's like Bill 1033 or something like that. They're now streamlining the permit process and the fees for ADUs. So for instance, I think there's like 20 different ADU builders that have pre-approved plans with the city now. And they've also reduced the fees. So if you are building an all-electric ADU, right? So no gas, all electric, you're going to save about $14,000 in fees, and it's going to fast track the process. So, and again, for people at home listening or watching, if you have a lot size over 9,000 square feet, you can build a 1,200 square foot ADU. If you're under 9,000, you can build up to 1,000 square feet.
So let me ask you, a property like this, right? A pretty narrow backyard. Can you do an ADU on this property?
You can.
That is crazy.
I know.
Wow.
That's
That's crazy.
But that would be one really skinny ADU.
Well, it depends how you build it, right?
It's a tough shed.
But in that situation, you're not. I mean, you can sell it off, yes, but who buys?
Well,
Who's gonna buy that ADU in your backyard?
I mean, it's real estate. At some point, it's just a matter of time before it becomes the norm, right?
I think Jeet had a deal or came across a property last year where it was on a corner. Right?
Yeah, so
And
they-
it has to be configured the right way for somebody to want to be marketable.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
they had sold it for almost $2.5 million. It was a 2-bed, 2-bath ADU behind a 4-bed, 3-bath main house. They had bought the lot for about $3.5 million. They built the single-family home for about single family home and ADU for about 4.2 million, give or take, and then they sold the ADU for 2.5 million itself.
And that's because they had kind of a separate corner
Yeah,
area,
so-
separate location, separate access.
I know. I was
Yeah.
thinking about doing that at my house because the
There
way
you
my
go.
lot goes, I can put one all the way at the end and
Put
I'd
them
never
over
see
that
them.
other side of the pool.
Yeah, and I'd put a fence up, then I'd never see
you
them, and
go.
I'd still have 12,000 square foot lot.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
this
see
one,
something like that, yes.
Yeah,
So,
it
yeah.
just depends on the footprint of the lot.
I love how you're using your microphone as a weapon.
Don't get too close.
Yeah.
Just throw it out.
But yeah, so I mean, you get an ADU on a project like this, and we give the owner that maybe additional ability for a multi-generational type scenario. I don't think anyone's gonna be buying it if they got to walk through their living room to get to their
Right.
ADU, right? But then we got properties like, so how would this benefit?
But that would have to be a 2-story ADU back here though. That can't be a one.
It would. Although you'd have a nice view of Highway 17.
Yeah, it may sound like
how
the
does
ocean.
that with San
Doesn't look like
Jose
the
benefit a property like we have on 3rd Street? Because that's a very, very unique property. I think it's really cool,
That property is amazing.
right?
Yeah, if I'm an investor, I'm looking at that. I mean, there's the artist studio, right? That
Right.
prior they didn't allow it to become an ADU. Where I think now you should be able to go in there and turn it into an ADU.
Would you be able to sell those off individually in the back?
Yeah, you
You've got to
should.
figure out the easement. right?
Yeah,
Access.
I mean, but you treat it like a condominium association almost, right? Where it's all common area. The driveway becomes the
That's-
access point,
yeah.
and then you have a little HOA and some CC&Rs.
That is a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
I think that could be a very interesting project.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
What do you got, G?
nothing much today.
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
How about Jason's been all quiet over here.
I know.
I love his
Come on,
outfit.
Jay.
I remember when I first got into business, it was a suit and tie. You had to dress to impress. You had to be ready to go at any time. And this guy walks in, but I know he just sits on the computer all day generating leads.
There you go.
Hell yeah, you should hear how much caffeine's in this guy's body as he enters the office.
He's shocked.
Comes in shaking.
Oh my god.
Jittery.
Oh my lord.
We'll talk a little bit about interest rates. I'm closing a deal on Thursday, and I was looking at the buyer's note, right, which is the terms of the loan and that sort of thing. 7.5%.
Oof.
I know.
Ouch.
But this is an interesting statistic, and actually Jacob shared it with us. Thank you for that. 87% of mortgages across the United States are under 6%. Currently.
It's not new ones.
Right. Yeah. Of all mortgages across the United
sure.
States, 86 new, old, whatever.
That's the
86
reason for low inventory. No
Yeah.
one's selling if they're sitting on those rates.
and 22% of mortgages across the United States, right? So what's that? 1 in 5 are under 3%.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, when we see 860 homes on the market, I mean, don't think it's going to double.
The interesting
anytime
thing
soon.
with those, because I happen to be one of those under 3%. However, I did a 10-year ARM. So mine's coming up in 2028, right? I'm at 2.5 IO. So, I mean, I'm loving it. I'm a little concerned about what's going to be going on in 2028. I hope that gives us enough years to kind of bring it down a little bit.
Right. But remember, the good news is with most of those, because there's a lot of like clickbait out there,
Sure.
or maybe some false information, like, oh, your loan's going to adjust. You're.
Yeah.
But the reality
Wow,
is
that was a harsh.
Well, hey,
I feel there's a
an
big
F-bomb.
beat coming out that way.
I heard
Jake,
that on the
note
phone
that.
making those calls.
Note that for the bleep.
Yep. But the reality is, in most adjustable rate mortgages, the initial adjustment has a cap.
Correct.
And it's typically 1% max.
Correct.
So going from a 2.5 to 3.5 IO
I'm not going to
payment.
complain.
Yeah.
Hey,
Not much
considering my
difference.
first house was at 7.5%. I was lucky to get 7.5%.
Can
There
you
you go.
explain that again? I think
Yes.
that's a good.
Great point.
So on adjustable rate mortgages, after the fixed term ends, it does enter an adjustment period. The adjustment, the new interest rate is typically calculated on index plus margin.
Right.
So there's an index and that's volatile. Then there's a margin that's fixed. They add that up. There's your rate. However, it can only adjust up or down so much within a calendar year. And so typically if you're at 2.5% or 3.5%, when your ARM adjusts, it will only go up 1 percentage point max for that
So
year.
you're not going to go from a 2 to a 7.
No.
Nope, no way. It would take a couple years because the max adjustment per year is typically 1%.
And those are the things that they've set in place to avoid a 2008 crash like we had last time.
Yeah.
Gives you a little bit of time to breathe.
Yep. On the residential side, on the commercial side,
you're screwed.
it's
You're screwed. You're screwed.
you are.
There's no cap. It'll just go.
It'll just go.
Well, what's worse typically is that they're 5 or 7 year loans, and the note is due at the end of that.
Oh, yeah.
So you're forced to refinance
It's
yourself.
truly a balloon
got it.
payment.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, you're seeing these huge apartment complexes and towers being taken back by banks. There was a
Yep.
big one just taken back in Oakland because they defaulted on the
Yep.
loan, so the bank just took it
That's
over.
happening.
So we talked about interest rates being at 7.5%, and earlier we talked about the inventory level still being low, sitting on the market a little longer. Some of these areas, like we've been seeing, like the Cambrian property had so much interest in the open house. Those people are coming in with 40 to 50% down, more of an affluent area, riding their stock money out. Brings up the Madera property we just had, and last week we talked about all the people we saw coming into the open house. Where do they work? Property today gets an offer over $5 million, and they're going
Hold on, don't get all
65% down.
Hold on.
Hey, I'm not saying the price. All I'm saying is the percent down. And on a home that big, 65% down,
Right.
you're looking at a lot of stock money that you're probably taking out.
100%.
Yeah, nationally, the number of cash offers that we are seeing right now with these high interest rates are on the rise. So people are trying to offset their mortgage payment by putting as much money down, or if not, buy it out all cash,
Yeah.
because the cost of borrowing money is so high right now.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
and remember about a month or so ago we had Nick Homer on the podcast, and he actually talked about ways where you can borrow against your stock or your investment account, and take advantage of actually using that as cash, but keeping
Right.
your stock in the market.
Well, that's the challenge. The money market accounts right now are paying 5.5%, just for interest, no risk whatsoever.
Yeah.
To just sit it in there, so it's a challenge to give that up. But I guess you can offset it and say, okay, if I pull out my 5.5%, I'm paying 7.5%. Does that get? I mean,
Yeah,
It is a
the
challenge.
delta is not as bad, right?
Correct.
As opposed to just liquidating your stock and putting it all,
Right.
up on the home.
well, yeah, because we're liquidating stock, then you look at it, capital gains
Taxes
and everything else with it, right? So,
Yep.
Yep.
So it's hot in this house,
It is.
and Mark's wearing
Another
jeans and a
hat.
sports coat.
I'm not sweating it though. I'm all good.
Good.
all good.
So
Are we going to go through our favorite areas of the house?
but
We're
it
gonna
reminds
say that
mine's
for
the
Blackberry.
window.
Say that for Blackberry. so we
David and I
can-
said, how did the spider thing?
Yeah, but it reminds me we are in the dog days of summer, right? But the good thing about summer is that we, as the VKG real estate team, have a lot of cool events coming up.
Absolutely.
So I just want to touch on those a little bit. July 25th, we've got the world premiere of Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to come check that out before everybody else, hit us up. We've got limited amount of tickets there.
Yep.
We've got Music in the Park starting. When does that start? July?
July 28th, I
end
think.
of
Yeah,
July.
End of
everything starts
July.
July
21st,
Yeah,
I
same with
think.
Jazz on the Plaza. But Jazz on the Plaza, we don't have a booth till the very end.
Yeah, we
Music-
saved the best for last for
Music
Jazz
in
on
the
the Plaza.
Park, we have a booth. I mean, we are the VIP booth the entire time.
Yeah, so great music, great location, and then we've got the elevated VIP platform.
Yep.
So if you guys want to come check that out on Sundays, one of us or all of us will be there every
Absolutely.
single Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Oh yeah.
We better
Sunday
be.
fun day.
Yep.
Ben, are you excited for the movie?
Oh yeah. Me and David, I think, are going to go dressed up in latex. I heard David's going to be Deadpool, and I'm going to be Wolverine. So
There you go.
we'll see how.
So stay
this-
tuned.
So stay tuned.
There you go.
We'll get a good
Awesome.
photo.
Good stuff. All righty.
Well,
Are we done? We closing it out now?
Any other real estate related topics? Like, what's going on? What's interesting that's happened this week to us? Any stories?
Again, I think the biggest issue I'm seeing is that seasonality of the marketplace, where we can't expect what was happening even 2 months ago, right? It is
Yeah.
that time period. Again, I go home and I'll complain to Dee Dee about the lack of activity. So she, would you shut that up? I guess we'll do another beat there. You've been saying it for the last 32 years. That's why we do our vacation in June.
Yep.
Just like everybody else.
Oh,
Get the hell out of
smart.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So yeah, and again, I'll just reiterate it. If you are a buyer, the next 30 days will probably be your best opportunity all year to
100%.
purchase a home at or below asking price.
100%.
And to jump on the back of what you said earlier about as a buyer, you see the prices dropping. Are you going to wait longer? Are you going to
No.
see if it rises out? If you're a buyer and you're thinking, what if it stays on the market for 2 more weeks and it gets to this price? Don't be afraid to offer that price right now. I mean, let's
Right.
start the negotiations early. See at least get in the driver's seat and make that final decision of kind of where it's going to go. But this is a good time, like you said. The sellers who have their homes on the market right now in June and even in December, they're
Right.
motivated to sell. They're not leaving the area. They're not having family come over and spend time. They're ready to get out. So
Yeah.
as a buyer, again, if you're here, this is a good time to
The
take
biggest
advantage.
question I'm getting right now is, should I wait till after the elections? I personally don't think the elections, one way or the other, are going to matter with, especially in an area like this. It's not going to change our inventory. It's not going to create a firestorm of anything whatsoever. It'll be a change in the theatrical
Guards.
people. Exactly right.
Yeah, I
And
mean-
our life will still continue to go.
Yeah, as long as stock market's doing well and technology companies are hiring, we're always going to be insulated here compared to rest of the most of the United States.
Although we're not recession proof, we're recession resistant.
Resilient.
Recession.
Resilient?
Resilient.
Resistant?
Resistant, resilient.
Oh, see, there we go. What are we?
Semantics?
Semantic.
Comment below.
All right.
All right, well, that's it. It's hot here.
It
I'm
is.
going to go get
Let's
a
move on.
Slurpee or something.
Yep. Join us next week at our newest listing.
Well,
which will be a surprise.
I don't think we're doing that next week.
Well, I said next time. Is that over semantic?
Well, we can.
Another semantic.
We can do one at Escobar.
Maybe we're all sitting in Jane Ann over there in Jeet's condo that's coming on the market. We'll sit in the living
Hey,
room.
that's Adler Court.
Adler.
Oh,
Yeah,
Adler.
that's a
Adler.
really nice.
They have AC there?
No.
Oh,
No AC, and our handyman's truck got towed because he didn't park in the right place.
Yeah.
hey, but we do have a really cool top of the mountain property with some insane views that David said he's going to get flown in with a helicopter.
Well, hold on.
I
Tell
am.
us about the text message this morning. I know
No,
you're hot.
no.
You said this was the story.
I'm not going on the air
No,
with
not
this.
that story.
Oh.
Yeah. By the way, where's Aaron? He was in a helicopter or something? What the hell
No.
is that?
Flying
Yeah,
under
he was
the
looking
Golden
for the
Gate.
guy that tried to steal $300K out of Is he
Where
under
is
the
he?
bridge?
He's out running somewhere, man. He's down 45
No,
pounds.
he was flying in a helicopter.
I think it was an old video.
Yeah,
Oh,
he-
was it old?
He said he likes to do that to generate the buzz.
Yeah.
Well, it did.
He's
It's all
down.
good.
I didn't even think it was his video because I didn't see him in the first one.
Yeah.
And then I saw the photo. I was like, all right.
That's
here
it.
it is.
I
Yeah.
thought you had to have a permit to go underneath the
Actually,
bridge.
you do, and I flew with the same helicopter pilot. He's like, we're not supposed to do this, but
But we
and
did.
then,
Love to chase me.
dude, it's incredible. There's nothing like it.
What was
Highly
that during?
recommend it.
Fleet Week when he got here, he got Blue Angels.
So we have a helicopter guy, is what I'm hearing.
Yes. we
Hey,
have
do you
helicopter.
have a handyman? Hey, do you have this? Hey, do you have a helicopter guy?
Absolutely.
Yes, we do.
You
All
name it,
things realistic.
and beyond.
And beyond.
All right, cool.
All right, we're out.
All right, bye everybody. Take
ya.
care.